I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right. Welcome, you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is your girl, Coy, with your black tea sip. So we are going to do a lot today. We're going to clear up a lot of chatter. We're going to clear up a lot of noise. We're going to silence some things that have been going on, not just in Dallas County, my home, but also in Tarrant County, across the way. So we have the pleasure of the candidate here today, Tiffany, I'm going to say Hamilton Burks, because that's how she was kind of introduced to me, because a very dear mutual friend of ours informed me that even though she lives in Tarrant County, she is an Oak Cliff girl at heart. Oak Cliff. So now you are running for the district attorney's office.
Yes, ma'am.
And to be the chief law enforcement leader. But you had a career in the DA's office.
I did.
For how long?
Since 1997, so about 24.
24 years is a long time to be at the same place.
I was actually 22 years in Tarrant County.
Okay.
2 years in Fort Bend.
Okay.
Houston.
Okay. All right. So what comes to mind, so we always think about the district attorney's office. They are to help us right wrongs. They are to provide calming solutions. And I'm saying that because, most people's idea of the DA's office and wherever they live, and this show is global, they usually have an idea of law and order in their mind. They just hear dum dum.
That's right.
That's what you think when you hear that. So tell me why you decided after graduating from law school. Where'd you go to law school?
Texas Southern, Thurgood Marshall.
Oh, Thurgood Marshall. So this is getting better and better. This is a diehard HBCU. Where'd you go to undergrad?
UT.
UT. Okay, we'll forgive you. So she got it right after the fact. She went to an HBCU. So tell me why you decide the DA's office as opposed to, setting up your own shop and hanging up your own shingle or doing defense work. Why the DA's office for you?
So I love that question because when I went to law school, I never had any intention of being a DA.
Okay.
I planned to be a defense.
Oh, okay. It's interesting.
Yeah, because many people, especially people in, feel like defense attorneys are where you need, because you need to help defend. So defense is what I was planning. And instead, I went to intern at a DA's office, and there was a young man there named Victor, who some people may know. He's a little.
Yes, I know Victor.
And Victor was chief prosecutor in the misdemeanor.
Okay.
And I remember him telling me, "You need to be a prosecutor." And I said, "I don't want to be." No, you need to be, because we need people that look like everyone in the DA's office.
Okay. All
Prosecutors have the power. Prosecutors decide what they're going to charge you with. They're going to charge you. They're going to dismiss the case, and so we need people of diverse background.
But that, what, and that's true, because what happens is we find people that are disassociated. They don't understand the community, the struggle. One of the things that that Jane Hamilton, who is a soror of mine and a friend and is running, and the right person for the Congressional District 30, there's the shameless plug. One of the things that she and I have always talked about is the fact that, people live in their bubbles. And when we were talking about voting, even very recently when I was working with a candidate, her best friend said, well, why would anyone need a utility bill to vote? Well, because outside of underserved communities, as you well know, sometimes it's not about the driver's license, it's about the warrants and the tickets and the fines and the fees that keep you from having a driver's license. Not the driver's license.
Right.
A driver's license that hasn't been expired.
That's right.
And so I think that's a very valid point. You need people that look like us, who also, because now all kinfolk ain't, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. We also need people who understand the people that are that are being, I guess for lack of a better word, are being in a position to have to deal with the DA's office.
That's right. And so that's why I went. And I've been there ever since. You know, it's just one case at a time. Comes across your desk, you try to make a difference in life, you try to make the right decision. I always live by the mantra that you do the right thing for the reason all the time, period, full stop. And so sometimes that means that somebody has to go to prison. Sometimes that's the case.
Well, let me say this. I have said things about the police in Dallas County. But if somebody breaks in my house, I want them to show up.
That's right.
You know, so I think your point is valid. There are some people that need to go to jail, regardless of race or color or ethnicity. And I think sometimes look, if somebody pushes my mama down and steals her purse, I do not want the DA to talk to me about, well, we just think we're going to give them 30 days probation. No, because I would want a little more. Now, I'm not saying that we need to string people up. I do believe in redemption and rehabilitation. But, I mean, you know.
You know, and what you're talking about is accountability. And accountability can look like a bunch of different.
For a lot of different people. I agree with that.
That's exactly right. So what one person's life looks like and what the facts of that case looks like and what the things in that case is going to be different across the board. So
right.
Accountability in one case might be prison. Accountability in another case might be probation. Accountability in another case might be a diversion program, or maybe even, you just don't know. You have to, one case.
We're going to take a quick break. We are here with the candidate for Tarrant County DA, Tiffany Burks. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with me. This is Call with your black tea sip. Go grab your cup. We've been known to fill it up.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
Put your version down.
I can approve, yep, my song.
Okay, we'll get it. And we're back. This is Call with the Black Tea Sip. As you can see, we are joined by the lovely Lola. We will be doing Lola's Love Life in a little while, but we are joined today by Tiffany Burks. She is running for Tarrant County DA, and you are the only woman that's running on the Democratic ticket?
I am the only woman.
And you are the only, of course, black woman running. When was the last time a black woman ran for that seat?
Never.
I know.
Ever?
Never.
Ever.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because we before the break we talked about kind of your philosophy, and we're talking about a little bit of why you want to run for that seat. But let's talk about the fact that you are a black woman. Now, black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party.
They are.
They don't want to talk about that, but it's fact. It's a fact. So with that being said, I know that, because I've had the pleasure of meeting your campaign manager, and I know that you've run into some adversity. Let's talk about a black woman running for that seat in Tarrant County. Which, let me be very clear with those of you that are watching. My dear friend reached out to me. I don't know him. He's a dear friend of the show. He's in Afghanistan. He said he was glad I was back. Thank you so much. Shout out to the engineers in Afghanistan. But he's from Oak Cliff. I think it's necessary for us to have a little bit of a conversation about the fact that you've run into some adversity. You're a black woman on the ticket, and Tarrant County is a red county. Dallas is blue. Tarrant County is red. They haven't had the benefit of us turning the county from red to blue.
Which is interesting because you all, Tarrant County voted for Beto when he
Yes,
ran for U.S.
true.
Senate.
Yes, they
and
did.
then they voted for Biden.
Yeah.
And not only so you're voting blue nationally, but locally, there seems to be
A disconnect.
A disconnect. Very true, because the majority of your judges are Republican.
All of
and-
them.
Well, before we go
all of
there,
them, okay.
let's touch on the fact. This is what we say. This is not what you say. This is what we say.
Okay.
I, in particular, I believe, and that's the reason that Lola and I work on judicial campaigns, is because it is the last plantation. The bench is the last plantation. It's the last place you can be put in bondage, whether it's civil or criminal bench. It's the last place you can be put in bondage. But the DA's office can make the determination of who actually goes into that court. So we may have to rethink the last plantation. So with Tarrant County being red and the Republicans with the mindset that they have now, the Trumpsters, this is probably a very difficult time to be a black woman running in Tarrant County as a Democrat.
It is, for a number of reasons. The first reason is because people need to understand that local elections really,
Oh, absolutely.
right? I mean, and like to your point, they voted for Beto, they voted for Biden, but they didn't vote down the ballot.
Right.
And people look down the ballot and they see people and they don't know who they are, so they don't vote.
Right.
Or they are not, that they don't see anyone on the ballot that brings the level of experience, the knowledge that they're looking for to vote for them. And so it's important in Tarrant County, at least, to bring some voters out so that they can vote for candidates like me, someone who, I am a Democrat, even though one of the issues that has come up is that I'm not.
Why do you think they say that?
Well, because to your point, it's a Republican county.
Yes.
And throughout the years, I have voted in Republican primaries.
So I want to stop there because a Democrat, all the Democrats just clutched their pearls. All the Democrats just, but when Trump was on the ballot, a lot of Democrats voted in the Republican primary in the attempt to stop him.
That's
And so I want you to help educate people what that means when you're a Democrat but you vote in a Republican primary.
What that means is that you are, number one, an independent thinker. Number two, it means that you want your vote to have voice. And so for me, someone who was working in the criminal justice system, knowing that all of the judges that were running were Republican, as a prosecutor, I needed to make sure there were judges on the bench who were going to be fair.
Yes.
And so I had to choose what I had to choose.
So
I wasn't going to not vote.
Because it is your right.
It is my right to vote, and it is my right to give voice to whoever it is that's going to.
And if you didn't vote, they would have something else to say.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Because you're not a voter.
Yeah.
I'm not-
Because now you're not a voter, you're not a supporter of the community or, part of this democracy. But to that point, when you say an independent thinker and you're voting for Republicans, is that because there are no Democrats running, or because I know we think black and white sometimes it's
That's
either
right.
here,
So
right or left.
Yeah, I'll speak to that. Started in 1999. It was 2006 before a Democrat ran, and that was Terry Moore who ran for DA against.
And so I want people
So-
to understand what you're saying. There were no Democrats to vote for.
That's right. And or the second piece to that puzzle, though, which is also important, and you just said it, Tarrant County is a red county. And so chances are the person who's going to come out being the judge is going to be a Republican.
Right.
So, yeah. I
So you
mean,
try to pick the most moderate of the Republicans. And I want
Yes.
I want people to understand that because
The most fair.
the most fair. Even because what I think people need to understand is there were no options.
That's right.
And so when you are faced with no options, you can either decide to accept that and to allow that to what I would think happen to you, or you can have a voice. And I think people need to understand, because when your campaign manager first said it to me, she said, I know. I said, no, I get it. You didn't have a choice. We've always had somewhat of a choice in Dallas. And you know, for us, people that don't know, because we have people from like Mississippi and places, there are people that don't realize that Texas wasn't Republican until Bush hoodwinked, bamboozled, and got over on people when Ann Richards was the governor. So we have been blue. It's only been in the last 20 years. So and I won't tell your age, but that means that you're at a place where you're saying you have seen the change in the state, not necessarily Tarrant County, but in the state. And then you can decide to either participate and exercise your right, because it's a right. I mean, they want us to think it's a privilege, but it's a right. It's a right for us to vote. You can exercise your right, or you can sit back and be apathetic and do nothing. But then when that happens, then you've missed your opportunity.
That's right.
And I think that people need to understand that you exercised an opportunity to participate in a democratic process. Now, does that paint you as the red devil? That's seemingly the question now. Are you running on the Democratic ticket and you're really a Republican? Or are you a Democrat that didn't have choices before?
So, let me speak to that.
Please.
Take a beat.
Anybody, I know, like, take a breath.
Take a breath.
Anybody can go online right now and you can Google Tiffany Burks, attorney, Fort Worth.
Yep.
And Tiffany Burks attorney salary, and my salary will pop up.
Yes, it will, because you work for.
I work for a government. Okay. So when I left the DA's office, I was making $200,000 a year. Not too many people know, but it's public record. You can go online, you can look at it. So to that question that you ask, I say this: who would leave a $200,000 a year to run for DA in a party that has, for the last 25 years, been losing their races in Tarrant County?
Yes.
If I wasn't a Democrat.
Right.
I had choices, right? I chose to run as a Democrat because I am a Democrat, because my views, my ideals align with the Democratic Party, and so here I am. But you know, I really want people to use some critical thinking skills, because who would do that? Who would leave?
Well, let's play with that a little bit. You know, there is this idea that people in politics are egotistical. There is this idea, if you using Trump as an example, are narcissistic. And so they want the power. You know, because we work in politics and we run campaigns, Lola and I, outside of Lola's Love Life, we have seen all kinds of things on a campaign trail. But one thing I know that the Republican Party sorely, sorely wants is someone that looks like you, that has Republican ideas and values, and would run for that top seat. That is what the Republican Party is looking for. So let me ask you this. Would it have been easier for you, or do you think it would have been the same challenges if you had decided that it would have been easy to just go that way?
So I think that's where the topic of this show comes into play. As a Black woman, I think it would have been the same challenges on the other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I agree.
They are looking for people they can manipulate. I mean, I've had calls from people saying they, you know, been thrown lots of money, and because I live in Dallas County and we have had options, I don't represent Republicans. Yeah. But I think people need to understand about choice. We're going to take a quick break. This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip. We'll be right back with candidate for Tarrant County DA, Coy Murchison. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm Coy Murchison. I'm not running. I never will. I never will.
She's not
Tiffany
running for
Burks.
DA.
I'm not running for anything.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
Got Louis on my eyes, you got them days. Took you a whole year to bounce back. Took me a couple days. You hitting licks, I'm getting rich. I'm hitting C-notes. Watch what you say, I got a pick. I can show you what he know. He can do tricks, he with the shit. Do what I tell him to. If he get at you, I plead the fifth. I didn't tell him to. I hit the block was hot. I had to drop the top. Remember the name, never forget the face. I'm coming back. Whoa now, go get your phone now. Yeah. Whoa now, go get your phone now. You should've watched me shine. Look like I hit the lotto. I be on my grind. Bitches think I hit the lotto. You should've watched me shine. Look like I hit the lotto. Bitches think I'm lying. Nah, I ain't hit the lotto. Oh, now, go get your phone now. Cause I'm in a zone now. This is my town. Turn off the lights now. Cause I'm shutting shit down. Send the shots to all my haters. No, I don't promote violence. Where is the waiter? Sign autographs later. Then I gotta go. Sign autographs on the back of my check. Minding my business. Yeah, that's a bet. Baby, my entourage ready to flex. Pop rubber bands. See, we neck to neck. Running the race. I got his next. How does it taste? Pick up the pace. I'm on a new page. My honey's fresh, like they just came out of a suitcase. Whoa now, go get your phone now. Go get your phone. Whoa now, go get your phone now. You should've watched me shine. Look like I hit the lotto. I be on my grind. Bitches think I hit the lotto. You should've watched me shine. Look like I hit the lotto. Bitches think I'm lying. I ain't hit the lotto. They gon' hate on you cause they know you shining bright. They gon' hate on you cause they know you shining bright. They gon' hate on you cause they know you shining bright. They gon' hate on you cause they gon' hate on you cause they gon' hate on you cause they know you shining bright. They gon' hate on you cause they know you shining bright. They gon' hate on you cause they know you shining bright. They gon' hate on you cause they gon' hate on you. Watch me shine. Look like I hit the lotto. I be on my grind. Bitches think I hit the lotto. You should've watched me shine. Look like
available. T.H. Moore's newest novel, titled I Am, follows a young African-American couple who are forced to pick up the pieces of their marriage after the violent loss of their young godson at the hands of a local white policeman. The loss sparks not only their community's anger, but also the rage of a vigilante who initiates a nationwide killing spree targeted at corrupt police officers. New York Times best-selling author Omar Tyree praises T.H. Moore's new novel as an audacious story and read. Dr. Christopher C. Irving, CEO of the Miller Institute for Leadership and Diversity in America, calls it a daring story. I Am by T.H. Moore, now available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and at thmoore.com.
We're back. Y'all heard me flub up because, look, my son was blowing my phone up, and when a 14-year-old calls 5 times, you automatically think the school is under attack. So I'm back with candidate for Tarrant County District Attorney's Office, Tiffany Burks, Oak Cliff girl. So before we had our break, we were really talking about and concentrating on how people misconceive the whole Republican notion and voting in the Republican primary and what that means when you don't have other options. But I think that you cleared that up in a way where people that choose to believe it will believe it.
That's right.
But one of the things I know that happens with district attorneys across the nation that look like us, you also get dinged when things don't happen in the community. And I think oftentimes people don't understand, and I'm certainly not saying that I have great deal of knowledge and are well versed in how the district attorney office operates. But I do note that with any job, many times you do have, you can't always do what you want to do. You have a boss that is saying, I think it should go this, I should think it should go left, and you want it to go right. And so, I want to give you an opportunity to speak to some things that may have happened that you may find are popping up now.
I think that when we talk about the whole Republican thing, I think that's really more about trying to discredit me as a person, so that people won't vote for me.
Okay.
I think that's really what that is, because I keep thinking about Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
She ran for president, and I think it was a situation where she almost failed getting in a car or something.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing you know, Trump was talking about how she wasn't capable and, she was sick.
She tripped. Mm-hmm.
She's not in her right
Low
mind.
energy.
She's all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And in the hopes that it would dissuade people from seeing what she really had to offer.
Yes.
And so that's been the challenge, is that I spend, so much time talking about who I am, that I can't have the time to talk about what I do.
Well, let's talk about that.
And I'm a little irritated
Mm-hmm.
with constantly feeling like I have to define myself, because I don't feel that people are able to. Only I can define. I'm more than just a Democrat,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother.
Mm.
I'm not a monolith of just, you can just take this box and stick me in it and say she's a
Mm-hmm.
she's a Democrat. That's it. I'm more than that. And so.
And what does that look like? If you're just a Democrat, how does that define you if you're just a Democrat? Because I'm not just a Democrat. I'm a Texan. So I believe in a right to bear arms because I'm a Texan, and people are crazy. And, so if I'm a Democrat, does that mean that I don't think that anyone should ever have a gun? Well, no, I think that the police don't need tanks to help police its people. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you need paramilitary style weaponry and combat boots because somebody's stealing a car. So how does that look if one is only defined by their party? I don't know that you can do that.
You can't do it. It's very limiting. You have to allow people to be more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm more than that. And I'm sure you're more than that. And you just have to allow people to be who they are, and just telling someone or saying to someone, she is what she is or is not, It's kind of insulting because there's so much more to me than that.
Well, I think primarily what we don't tend to understand very well is that is all politics are.
Yeah.
Politics are about narratives.
That's right.
And people tend to win. Bush won because he was the guy that people said they wanted to have a beer with. Well, other people, not us. And so he won because he was the guy that they felt they could have a beer with. And I think sometimes what happens, and Lola and I run into this all the time, is people, really and truly, oftentimes the people who are really doing the job, they're not the people that you want to have a beer with because they're the workhorses. They're the ones that do the work. They're the ones with their head down. They're the ones that are actually delivering. So I want to give you an opportunity to talk about some of the things that you've delivered on.
So throughout my career, 24 years, I rose to the level of deputy chief. And in doing that, I had an opportunity to meet so many people in our. That's one of the things that I did. People don't realize that being a prosecutor really is public service.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how many houses I've been in talking to citizens about their needs, their concerns, their issues, their problems, their joys, their celebrations, as well as, the things that have been difficult for them. And, being with people like that throughout the county is something that I'm very proud of, and that's something that I think people don't really know about me. They know that I've been a prosecutor for 24 years. They know that I was deputy chief. They know that I tried a lot of cases. But the thing that I think I'm most proud of in that 24 years are the people that I've met.
Okay.
The community is so important, and people need to understand that being a prosecutor, it really is a people-driven, people-focused career.
So the people that you've represented, am I right? What would they say about
for
that?
the state?
Well, for the state, right? What would they say?
What would they say about me? Prepared, caring. I meet people where they are. I don't care what walk of life you come, whether you're a prostitute, a doctor, or a drug addict. Didn't matter. I meet everyone where they are in their circumstance. And I think people will tell you that when they come into my office, or if I go to their homes, which is what I did most of the time, I made them feel comfortable. I made them understand that there was somebody there who cared and that they. And sometimes, believe it or not, it wasn't just victims or witnesses, defendants. Because I've had to meet with defendants too. And you have to meet everybody where they are. And that's really important in our. I'm very proud of that piece of my career. Very proud of that.
Do you think being a prosecutor is a part of maybe part of the reason that you are having to fight harder than your opponents or other people in the race?
I think that could be part of it.
Okay.
I think because I've done it for so long, people tend to think of prosecutors as not being people of color or people of color who are female. And so I think people don't really understand that good prosecutors don't just play offense, they also play. So what do I mean by that? They're not just the ones who are constantly trying to put people in prison and prosecute. They're also playing defense. They can see that good prosecutors can see that there can be more of a need than just sending somebody to jail.
Yes.
And so I've done I think, a very good job over the offense and defense.
Well, because I asked that question because when Vice President Harris was running for president,
Right.
I mean, everyone brought that up, and everyone was like, "Oh, she's want to put us all in jail, and that's how she got this far." And the reality, and I mean, when you fact check and you do your own research, you realize, she had the least amount of people go to jail. This is what I'm going to say, and this is just how I feel. If you don't win a case, that's on you.
That's right.
It's on you, because I have paid you to win this case, defendant or however it go. I'm not an attorney. I've not gone to law school. Pray for me. Anyway, but that's on you.
It is on you.
So, when I say that, you can't make a person bad because they won or they're doing their job, right?
Right.
That is where there's an issue for me, because my attitude is, are you mad that she won, or are you mad that you lost to her? Right. So that would be, how I feel. But with that being said, because prosecutors get a bad rep, especially when they start running for public office, we saw that nationally, and you still decided to run for DA. How have you prepared yourself for this backlash, for lack of a better word?
I have been preparing myself for this for 24 years.
Okay.
And I will tell you the backlash, a whole lot of prayer. I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of prayer, a lot of support from, great campaign managers, from my husband, from family members. And at the end of the day, I tell myself, it's not personal.
It's not.
It's not personal.
But it can feel that way.
It can. Listen, I've had moments where, and Angela can tell you, she's had to calm me down, because she's like, it's not personal. You have to take a breath, take a few hours off. But I realize people are just doing what they want to do and what they feel like they need to do to win.
And sometimes people don't have all the information, like the voters. So I think it's necessary to have this conversation, and I'm starting to have it more because, Lola and I are in politics. It was kind of thrust upon both of us in a very odd way. But I think people don't understand, also in the messaging, it's whoever has the money. Now, we've won campaigns on a shoestring budget, aside from the fact that we're very good, but we're also very loud, and when we've used our resources, but we are very loud. But the other thing is, we ran a campaign where I think we had $60,000 or $70,000 over the course of that campaign against someone who had $450,000. So I want people to understand a lot of what happens in a campaign when you say, well, I haven't really heard that much from them. Well, there should be opportunities. There should be websites and Facebook, and if Facebook will allow you, because I get suppressed a lot on Facebook. The white supremacists, they seek me out, they find me, and then they report me to Facebook. I'm in a Facebook fight right now. My friend is actually reaching out to someone, a live human being, who knew they exist, at Facebook to help me, because once again, the 3K card carrying members have found me. Aside from that, there are opportunities for us to use, but it really is about money. And you're talking about the whole county of Tarrant County.
I want to speak to that for a minute, because there's an article in the Fort Worth Report that talks about, our financial statements are open. Everybody can look at them. The Republican candidates are all amassing $400,000, $500,000 in this race. And Democrats, at least for me, I can only speak for myself, I'm not getting any PAC money from any, organization outside of the state of Texas. These are local people giving me money because they believe in my campaign and they believe I can do the job. And I say that to say this: we need to have, the Democratic Party needs to have a candidate who can go toe to toe with whatever Republican candidate they put up.
I want to speak to that, because one of the things that we encounter, and there are a few races in Dallas County that have some Republican challengers. I think they're moles, and they just kind of want to do a litmus test. However, we have to take that into consideration. Now, with that being said, when we start to talk about who can fight, who can get in the ring and slug it out with the Republicans, I think you need someone who's been tried and tested. And then what does that look like? Well, I don't know a better person that's been tried and tested and can get the job done than a black woman. And I'm not saying that out of biasness. I'm saying that because we have to do so much. Whether you're a mother, if you're not a mother, you're an aunt. If you're not an aunt, you're a caretaker of your parents. And if you're married, that's a whole different kind of caretaking. And so I think that when we also bring womanhood, and I'm not against men, y'all know that, but I think when we also bring womanhood into certain positions, we also get a certain level of compassion and understanding that we don't ordinarily get, because the genders are wired differently in how they resolve issues. And I think when you start to talk about who can look at the full brevity and scope of what people need in a particular place, whether it's a county or municipality or the nation, I think that you cannot disavow a black woman in that space who's been doing the job and who has a proven track record. And
I agree. You know, somebody once told me that, you know, do you want to be a plumber or do you want to be a janitor? And at first I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, janitors clean up the mess. Plumbers stop the leak.
Yes.
So
that's a good one.
I've been a plumber for 24 years. I've been trying every which way I can to stop the leak in every individual case that I've touched. So now I want to try to stop the leak on a larger scale. And for me, there are, you know, anyone who's listening to this who's practiced any criminal law for any period of time will tell you that there are three things that we always encounter in our cases, for the most part. Mental health.
Yes.
Poverty.
Yes.
Drug addiction.
Yes.
Okay. So instead of us having to constantly have this revolving door of people coming through our criminal justice system and we just mop it up.
And act like that the recidivism is part of who we are as a culture.
That's right. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. So let's instead try to stop the leak. Let's be plumbers.
Okay.
And so that's what I want to do. I want to try to stop the leak. And the way that we can do that is reach into our community, which is what I've been doing since I started this in September 22nd.
Okay.
You reach back into the community, you find where the resources are, you find those pastors, those faith-based organizations, nonprofits, those civic-minded organizations. Reach into the community, you find where they are, and then we start creating a pipeline to those resources for those people who deal with mental health, issues of poverty, drug addiction. Let's plug the leak and let's just stop, mopping up the mess.
I like that. I like plumber and not a janitor. So when we're looking at this race and we're talking about who is going to be the Democratic nominee, and we're looking on the other side of the Republicans and who that person will be, we need someone who's going to be able to take them on. And I want to add this, and I know some people are going to get angry. I think because it's Tarrant County, because it's got a little tinge of purple, but it's still very red. I think it's important to have someone who does understand so much of what Republicans' intentions are. And I don't know that because we're certainly not invited to the table when they have their scotch and their cigars and they're plotting on the rest of us like Pinky and the Brain. But I do think that it is important that you have someone who can be more central in their thinking and reach across the aisle. And I'm not talking about mending fences and building bridges. Some bridges you need to blow up. But I do think it's very important to have someone who has been in the trenches and understands the people that they're dealing with and will be dealing with.
Completely agree. And you know, what I've been saying, when I started down this road, I opened up a book and I started writing down, what are my goals? What do I want to achieve by running for DA? What is my administration going to do? And what I came up with is now my slogan, which is to restore the public service commitment of the DA's office so that we build the public's trust.
Okay.
And for me, that's what it's all about. So when you talk about people being able to reach across party lines, reach across, into the communities, reach into our law enforcement community, I am the person that can do what I've been doing. And that's real important to me. We have got to, in Tarrant County, we have cases like Crystal Mason, we have cases like a Tatiana Jefferson that are still pending, and there is a distrust in our community right now with law enforcement and the criminal justice. We need to find ways to bridge those relationships so that we can rebuild the public's trust in our criminal justice system.
So you want to restore, rebuild,
yes,
and incorporate trust where there hasn't been.
That's exactly right.
So you have, over your 20 some odd long years there, I think what's also necessary to say is because you're an attorney and represent, there are a lot of things you can't discuss that happen. So when people start to talk about, well, what has she done? Because we see that. There are things that judicial candidates would love to be able to tell, but just cannot, by Texas rules and ethics, you can't discuss. So the silence is not that nothing has been done. You can't have kept your job for 20 years and do nothing. So before we close, I want to give you an opportunity to speak to the people and tell them what you want them to know about why you are the best candidate for the district attorney's office in Tarrant County.
You know, what I want them to know is, you know, aside from the experience, I'm a hard worker. And I'm not someone who's looking for fame and fortune. I'm not trying to look for the limelight. I want a criminal justice system to be built in Tarrant County that works equally, justly for everyone. That's what I want. Yeah. And that's going to be my goal. When I get into office, I'm going to work hard every day to do those things so that, and be transparent about it, so that when the community looks at the district attorney's office, they will say, that is an office that's trying to do the right thing for the right reason.
The right thing for the right reasons all the time. I like that. You chomping at the bit. Go ahead, Lola. You have something you want to say.
I was going to say that when you say trying to do, what would be a reason that you wouldn't be able to do the right thing?
What would stop you from doing the thing that you wanted to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only things that I can think of right now that might stop me is if there are, for instance, things that I want to incorporate with law enforcement, because I can't tell them how.
You can't tell the chief of police how to run his department. So if there are things that I want to work with law enforcement to get done, and they don't want to do those things, I can't make them. So that's one area. The only other area would be money, because you know, the district attorney's office requires a budget to do their job. But short of that, everything else we will be able to do. There is nothing that stops any prosecutor in the DA's office from doing the right thing. All right. We have had the pleasure of sitting with the candidate for Tarrant County District Attorney's Office, Tiffany Burks, from Singing Hills, Texas. I feel like I need to say that. Singing Hills, Texas, Oak Cliff, Texas, stand up. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back with the fitness judges, Kim Cooks and Judge Andrea Lane. This is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. Go grab your cup. We're going to fill it up. Y'all want this one. This is a heater, because we're going to get into some stuff with Kim. All right.
Thank you.
In a minute.
Thank you.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters, and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
Podcasters and internet radio hosts, it's time to take your show to the next level. Hi, my name is Sammy G, a 30-plus-year radio broadcasting veteran, public speaker, and voiceover artist. And for the last 11 years, now the proud owner of Fishbowl Radio Network, the largest and most listened to streaming platform and radio station facility of its kind. 2 years ago, I created a proprietary system to help podcasters and internet radio hosts learn how to program their show like the pros, build a constantly growing and loyal fan base, and monetize their show. I teach this system every 6 weeks via Zoom to individuals all over the world. The Behind the Mic Masterclass is 6 one-hour classes that will finally take your show to the next level. Call today, 817-633-4880, 817-633-4880, and reserve your seat for the next Behind the Mic Masterclass.
Hello everyone, this is
Eddie
and Maria, owners of the Pinches Smokers Tex-Mex Barbecue.
If you're looking for some good finger-licking barbecue, come check us out.
We are located in the Oak Cliff area. We also offer catering for weddings, quinces, and any other type of occasions. You can contact us at 214-579-0570.
You can find us on social media at Pinches Smokers Tex-Mex Barbecue LLC on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat.
Come check us out, the best barbecue in the DFW.
Hi,
Hi, this is Diane Marion Eunice, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. For the past 9 years, I have worked with over 300 couples in the areas of sexual health, communication, and conflict resolution. If you are interested in rebuilding connection and intimacy with your partner, please contact me today. I can be reached at 682-201-8175, or you can email me at diane@letstalkrelationships.org, or visit my website at www.letstalkrelationships.org. And remember, you can't heal if you refuse to deal.
Fishbowl Radio Network, FBRN.US. Jump in.
Over a year ago, we gave you the marquee. Luther Vandross and his bros and queens, abundantly satisfying. We did more than please. Made you party a bit and put your mind at ease. And then we spoke on everything else in between. We didn't come for the shine, but we left with the rated highly approved. Put you back in the mood. Gave it to DJs who put the needle to the groove. All star, all minus, all par. Booth the V, Sin Q, and we are loose cannons, no comparisons by far. We do what we do when we are who we are. Dope music, high jump, raise the bar. So soothing, we do what they are. The vision would seem like Stevie and Ray Charles. In the hazy room, fat sacks and fat gauze. Yeah.
Back to back nights partying. Only stop to pray and then we start again. Just live today and let the rest go. We already know the way, baby, let's roll. And get back to the groove. Back to the basics, back in the mood. Back to the music, back to the truth. Back to the proof, I'll be watching over you. Coming back. Big dreams, I'm still big, it's the big time. Bright lights in the big city, big ego. Pockets getting bigger, big Nino. Big under pressure, hit some pretty big free throws. I've been cold, started a fire, still froze. I am someone you should admire. The eye of the tiger. From now on, address me as sire. The situation could be more dire. Deep sea diver. From out the frying pan to the fire. MCs be like backseat drivers, tell them buckle up. Big trucks, we riding big wheels. Big pump, big tuck, bitch, I'm a big deal. Bigger the cap, the bigger the billing. The bigger her ass, the better the feeling. The bigger the bag, the hyper the show. I take it in cash and 20s and more. Back to back nights partying. Only stop to pray and then we start again. Just live today and let the rest go. We already know the way, baby, let's roll. And get back to the groove. Back to the basics, back in the mood. Back to the music, back to the truth. Back to the proof, I'll be watching over you coming back. Back to back nights partying. Only stop to pray and then we start again. Just live today and let the rest go. We already know the way, baby, let's roll. And get back to the groove. Back to the basics, back in the mood. Back to the music, back to the truth. Back to the proof, I'll be watching over you coming back.
That's good drink right there, man. Loose cannons. Booth the V. Sin Q. LCS 21. Thank you for your presence. Rock KP on the track. Good looking out,
On asking me where I wanna be next to you. Baby, I'm thankful for the game that you're teaching me. I take it to heart. I want a piece of you. I wanna be yours. I wanna know what you're thinking. When we talk, what you feel. There is a problem, babe. Don't know if it's real or not. I know what I feel. I need some more of you. You and me belong together. I don't mind showing you it's real. I feel your heart when it beat. Me and you, we on the same team. Yeah. I wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. I a smart mouth, but I want it to be yours. I got a good heart and it's beating for you. Don't have to show me it's real. I wanna be, yeah. I don't mind showing you it's real. I wanna be, 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 yeah. I wanna be, don't think I don't notice. I love how you glowing up. You taught me the basics about diamonds and snakes. Timing is precious and it's better to wait. Tick tock, baby, I'm listening. I wanna know more. Don't wanna be your apprentice. I wanna be yours. I'm ready to jump in the deep end now. Baby, I'm sure you got that high dollar love, babe, like Christian Dior. Don't wanna be your friend, baby. I wanna be yours. Real or not, I know what I feel. I need some more of you. You and me belong together. I don't mind showing you it's real. I feel your heart when it beat. Me and you, we on the same team. I wanna be yours. I wanna be, I wanna be. I got a smart mouth, but I want it to be yours. I got a good heart and it's beating for you. Don't have to show me it's real.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right, and we're back. This is Coy with your black tea sip, where we sip power to pour truth. And we are going to do some of that today. We're going to kill the noise. We're going to silence some of this chatter. And we're going to get into some things that I know many of you have seen and heard on for months about Judge Kim Cooks and her opponent. And I think that it is noteworthy to mention that not only have we been seeing all of these things, there is a narrative that has been painted about Judge Cooks. There has been so much that has been said. And I think that it's important for us to kind of deal with that today. Now, many people don't realize, but I have known Kim since before she graduated Thurgood Marshall Law School. Kim and I are not only sorority sisters, but we're friends. And we've been friends almost 30 years. So we don't always agree. We don't, and we tell each other when we don't, because we are actually friends. And I know Kim, and I know the platform when she first decided she was going to run, the things she wanted to change in family court. I'm also joined here by my other friend, Judge Andrea Lane. So the fitness judges are in the house, and I want to also say, because I believe in being honest, I believe in being transparent, that, you know, many of you know that Lola and we work on judicial campaigns, we run campaigns, and I actually did the early voting and election day organizing for the last cycle. So you know, there's a little history here. Recently, the opponent for Kim Cook's seat was on the Ed Gray show. And on that show, she made some mentions of some things that I asked questions about. And I asked questions about how she was going to, she made statements. Let me just put it like that. She made statements and said that she and another attorney had been barred from Judge Kim Cook's courtroom. And so that's questionable to me, because judges do not pick the cases they want to hear. That is a process where the cases are assigned to their court. And so I asked who was the other attorney, and I did not get a response. I then asked later, when she made the statement about Judge Kim Cooks had filed a bar complaint against her. And she said that the bar had ruled in her favor. And I asked, and she said that, you know, she had it, and she was looking at documents that she had spread out, and I asked her, would she be willing to share that information with me? And she said yes, that I could come and pick it up for her office, and she left her email address. Now, I want to be fair, and I want to do what's right. Kim is my friend, but I you know, I believe in it's a right and wrong way to do everything, and ain't no right way to do wrong. So we're gonna do what's right. We're gonna be fair, but I want to be honest with the people that watch this show. I did not understand why she gave me an email address and not a phone number. I am currently running a campaign for Misty Mosteller. Her phone number is out there. You can call her. She told me to email her. And I thought to myself, well, okay. But since she's giving me an email address and she's saying to come pick it up from her office, I said, well, this is 2022, Lola. Who is picking up documents? So, and it's campaign season, and who's going to be available to me to give it to me? And so I thought about those things, and I said, well, you know what? She is responding. She is offering to provide this information. I'm going to send her a link, and I said that publicly. I'm going to send you a link, and I'm going to provide that link, and you can just file share, because it is 2022. We're going to use Al Gore's internet, and we are going to be able to technologically transfer and get these documents. But I also asked for some key components that I thought would substantiate things outside of this bar complaint. But I did ask for the bar complaint in full. I asked for Vonda as the attorney for her response and the bar's ruling, because I wanted to understand the full brevity and scope of what had transpired. And I still have not gotten that. Now, I emailed it. It was just yesterday when all of this happened, so perhaps she has not had time. I also asked, as you well know, there's been a narrative about Judge Kim Cooks that she was dating the woman, her name, and I hope I get this right, that she was dating Monica Eunice Anderson, that she was dating Mark Metz, who is Kim's ex-husband. Now, again, I've known Kim for a very long time, and I knew Kim when she was married to Mark Metz. I asked for any pictures that would substantiate the relationship between Monica and Mark Metz. I have not received those. I asked for any social media post or text messages, and they didn't have to be intimate, but just so you could see the familiarity, of the relationship. I have not received those. I did get a direct message today from Monica Eunice Anderson. She wanted to tell me that Kim had done terrible things, Judge Lane, horrible, horrible things. And I certainly was honest. I said, I've known Kim a long time, but I also know her ex-husband. Now, I'm not going to call his name, but his last name is Anderson. I have not talked to him in a while. The last time I talked to him was basically about, how you doing in real estate, but he is remarried. He is also remarried to one of my sorority sisters. So there is the background, so I'm gonna ask Kim some questions, and she's gonna answer, and I'm gonna ask Andrea some questions, and she's gonna answer. Lola's gonna ask some questions, but I want to kill the noise, the chatter, and what I consider foolishness. And so while you're listening to this broadcast, I want you to consider something. That one of the things that we always talk about when we're running a judicial campaign is temperament. I think the temperament here is open and in your face, and there's a delineated line, even through the sponsorship and associates and advocates for the way this has been handled, because one of the things that a judge cannot do is comment on a case. Can't. And I believe that because the opponent is saying that she is a knowledgeable attorney, she knows that. And so everything that has been said, they know that the judge cannot comment on it, not about the case. So there are going to be some things that people have told me that I'm going to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about is Mark Metz, who is her ex-husband. He released a video today. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it, but Miss Eunice Anderson did send me the tape when I asked her for pictures of her and Mark to substantiate the relationship. And I'm not saying that anybody's lying. I'm just saying the proof is in the pudding. I don't post pictures of me and my man all over the internet, but if you ask me for them, I have them. I asked for a timestamp, because if you take a picture with a cell phone, it has that. And I did not receive it, and I want Judge Lane, I would like to understand the time frame. But I know the things that happened to Kim. So I want to jump in there. There was a long setup, but I do want to talk about some things, because here we are facing an election and facing the 255th court, losing someone or continuing to have someone who has worked tirelessly to make sure that black men just don't end up in jail because they don't have a job, who has fought, begged, pleaded, worked with the DA's office to make sure that children removed from the home are not placed in strangers' home when they can help it, for foster care. I also know, and she's gonna look at me sideways, I also know that she has a platform that she plans to implement soon, where she wants people who are faced with domestic violence to get the women help. But she also feels like we need to do some kind of counseling for men, or the woman, because not all batterers are men, and to help them deal with some things. So I haven't heard her opponent have a platform. And I've listened to many of the endorsements. I haven't had a platform. And Judge Cooks has always had a platform. And so I'm going to give her an opportunity to address some things, but I stated Mark Metz. I'm going to say some things, Kim, and you haven't talked about them, but I'm going to talk about them, because I've known you a long time. This idea that Kim is upset because Monica Eunice Anderson was dating Mark Metz, I find to be comical.
Yes.
Because I know that Kim left with just her clothes and Adam's clothes and left Houston, her life. She went to Thurgood. She built a career there. She left with just their clothes and got in the car and came up 45. She actually lived with my line sister for a little while. That's not somebody who wants their ex-husband. She filed for divorce and she left. And in fact, Kim doesn't know that I remember this, but I remember a private eye chasing her all over Dallas, and her hiding and being afraid, because Mark Metz was abusive. Now, we've never talked about this. Kim does not talk about this publicly. Me and Kim have not talked about this in years. But that happened. So it's hard for me when I hear someone say, oh, she's angry because of Mark Metz. I'm saying to myself, is she angry? Because I remember Mark Metz having her in tears. I remember her being concerned about their son and what he was going to see and what he was growing up with. So, Kim, I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak to that, because the idea that you have retaliated against someone because of your feelings for your ex-husband, I just want to ask you very candidly, when was the last time your son saw his father?
I believe he came up here, it was either 20 20 or 21. Now understand that he's never like participated in anything that he has going on, anything whether because he has played
basketball forever.
Basketball since he was 3,
Mhm.
baseball,
Yeah.
lacrosse. He's played football. He's ran track. He's been the drummer in the band. He's sang choir in church. So all of these things and.
Well, I can tell you, I've been to Adam's games. You've been
I've
at
been
his
to Adam's
game,
games.
and we've never
seen his daddy.
Graduation, 8th grade graduation, did not show up. Even
Although he said he was coming, right?
He said he was coming, and even my father's funeral, he didn't come.
Well,
to that
and I was
either.
there.
You was there. He didn't come. So.
So I think people need to understand, Lola, that what we've been hearing, those of us that know, and we've been silent on your behalf because you asked us to just not get involved because you wanted to protect your son. And today was, I can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. I can't be quiet. And I've asked her to come on the show so that we could deal with it, because here is the thing. I've actually had just a couple of conversations with her son where he said to me, I tried. That's all I'm going to say about that conversation, because I'm not going to betray his confidences. But he has said to me, I tried. I know for a fact that he has been left with his half-brother and his half-brother at the time was a toddler and had special needs. And he was left in charge of that child to take care of that child, and Mark was gone. I also remember him having strep throat. And I remember his father asking him, have you ever had strep throat before? And he said no. And Kim was begging him to take him to the doctor because you provide the insurance, correct?
Yes.
And so she begged him to take him to, she called me almost in tears. And so I was ready to get in the car and go to Houston and go get him. But Kim has tried her best to be respectful of that relationship. And so, he told, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, he asked your son, have you ever had strep throat before? He said no. He said, well, if you had strep throat before, you know it. And he did not take him to the doctor. He didn't go to the doctor till he came home.
How about him needing to have, after having knee surgery, that could have ended his basketball career, having knee surgery, and still saying he's going to go follow up the therapy in Houston when he had his visit with his child, not following through, leading to subsequent surgeries.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
So the baby had to go have another surgery.
I remember.
Yeah.
I
right,
remember.
because scar tissue grew because he didn't go to the therapy when he was down there after the ACL tear. So then he had to have another surgery.
Okay, so I'm new to all of this.
Welcome.
But I'm new to all of this, and but I'm true to what I believe, I'm saying this to say. So you mean to tell me?
No, not so you mean to tell me
that we are discussing your ex-husband and your opponent, and she is running against you, but she believes you are upset with her running against you because she dated your ex-husband?
No.
Okay.
No. She has somehow, I don't know how she got even connected with him. And this is a person I had to escape from 15 years ago from Houston. So, when someone, whether man or woman, when they're upset or can't have you, then they come out with all type of things. And this is this situation, because I don't want him. I could care less what he does.
But her opponent has found a way to try to get into her family law case. And I mean, I don't know any grown person, male or female, that doesn't have a family law case. I've been divorced.
I'm divorced.
Child support cases. I mean, I know her opponent has 2 different baby daddies, so that means 2 child support cases, and was married to someone who was married to somebody before
I was
she
so
married
not expecting that, but go ahead, Judge
I mean,
Lane.
that's what I mean, because they said put it out there, and that people have been inboxing me and telling me to look
too.
up the facts. So I went in and looked up the facts. Because I don't want to say that I'm just riding because I know her. I want to know all the facts.
That's
because
right. That's right.
This lady, Monica, acts like, I was like,
Oh, is it not Monica? It's Monica?
It's Monica, whatever
Okay,
it is. I'm
okay.
like, did you date her? Because she has been stalking this girl like she's dated Kim and is all upset because Kim kicked her to the curb. I mean, this has just gotten so personal. But for her to try to have this narrative that she won't be a good judge because he has a family law case. Well, I mean, I know, have you ever slept with somebody's husband?
Absolutely not.
No. Okay. I haven't either.
Wasn't expecting that.
I haven't either. But I mean, it's gotten nasty. This is where we are. We need to talk about it.
No, we need to talk about it
Yeah.
because I think here's where I am with it. I said, listen, I've known her a long time, but I also know her ex-husband. Now, I know, because we have mutual friends, he and I, that he's not allowed to see his child. Now, someone told me that several months ago, because they called me about the Kim thing. And I said, I don't know, I haven't talked. Last time I talked to him was about a real estate thing. I was, calling about a sorrow, and I knew he would have the information based on his line of work. And he was kind enough to give the information, and how you doing, and we went on. Before, if you had looked at his Twitter account, it was pictures of him and his daughter. Pictures of him and his daughter.
And when you mean him, you mean Monica's ex-husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Him and his ex and his daughter, and she loves New York. Take her to New York, and he wanted to have fine dining experiences. Someone directed me there over the last couple of days. There are no pictures of his daughter. Now he's remarried, and he's with a Sora, and I thought there may be some truth to this whole can't see his daughter thing. So can you bring up the graphic for me, Duke? I want to deal with this graphic, and I want to. There's been a lot. I'm not going to dignify the video at all because it's lies and innuendo. Can you make it the full screen? Because I want people to see it. I'm not making this up as I go. I want people to see it, and today we're gonna deal with some things.
Well, I guess for me, I'm just trying to figure. I'm not. When I say I don't care, I'm not saying I don't care about who sits in the seat as judge. But what I don't care about is your personal life. And what's going on, because that has nothing to do with me. As long as it is not affecting the decisions you make as judge.
Right there. Absolutely.
Then I don't care. Yes. I don't care who you with, who you not with. None of that has anything to do with anything.
I think to your point, Lola, I think when we're talking about a judge, I need something. I knew your platform before you ran. I know the things that you've changed in your court. I knew Andrea's platform. I know Andrea shared with me a story about how CPS came into court and said that you had there were 4 children that had been taken out of the home, and they said, well, it's only a 2-bedroom apartment with the 2 grandparents. You don't know that I remember this. Remember we had the conversation over lunch, and she was so angry. And she said, this is why I wanted to run for judge, because Andrea admonished CPS and said, that's how I grew up with all my cousins.
Yep.
And I think I turned out all right.
Yep.
Because CPS had this notion that these 4 children shouldn't be on bunk beds in one room with the grandparents in the other. And Andrea is the kind of judge that said, are you kidding me? Because people don't understand the culture.
Right.
They don't understand the family dynamic, and they don't understand that we will make a way out of no way because we keep our families together when we can, because it's important. We need a judge sitting on the bench like Judge Lane who says, no, those children need to be with their grandparents. And can you imagine the stress of these grandparents? Mm-hmm. So when Kim is sitting there and there's someone that's saying he doesn't deserve to see his child, and the man has not endangered the child, he hasn't done anything wrong to the child, she's not going to do that. Mm-hmm. We need advocates not for just black women and black children, but for black men. Right. So I want to dig into this just a little bit. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the graphic is up. So I'm not making it up. And you got the graphic up? Yeah. Okay. And so it's she goes on. This is Monica Eunice Anderson. She is the ex-wife of the man that they're saying that Kim is now angry with her because she is involved with Mark Metz, who Kim had to flee from. And let me be really clear. There is another soror, and I feel comfortable calling her name Letitia Plummer, because she was on the news in Houston talking about Mark and his abuse and how she had to flee from him. So it's very difficult for us that know, especially members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, that know Kim's story. So I'm going to read a little bit of it. I'm not going to waste your time reading to you like this is a PowerPoint that you're forced to sit through, but I think it's important. And she greets me and she tells me, you know, she appreciates my platform. And she goes on to tell me she feels it's necessary to reach out. It's been my prayer that the truth and transparency will be exposed regardless of race when you have people unworthy of running for office that conflicts with intentional harm on families due to their egotistical and narcissistic ways despite being black women. The citizens of Dallas deserve to be educated on the truth. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Because I want to talk about the truth, because I did ask for the pictures directly to her. And I don't have that graphic, but I could pull out, you know, I did let her go. She went through a litany of things. And I was honest. I said, I know your ex-husband. Known Kim a long time. And then I told her where I come from. And I said, and then I went on to say that I had asked for substantive proof of the relationship. And I didn't get it. She still has not provided it. I asked for, this relationship is important because there's a graphic up on the opponent's page that specifically identifies the ex-husband and says that Kim had to be recused from the case because of the relationship.
And that's not all she says, which makes me wonder if she's mad at you, did you scorn her? Because in addition to saying that she dated Kim Cook's father, the father of Kim Cook's son, Mark Metz, but that she also dated some other man that you were romantically
for
involved
4 years.
For 4 years.
And I asked who that person was. I said, can you provide the name and any pictures of him and Kim and any pictures of you? Mm-hmm. Who is that person?
Right. That just seems crazy. Of all the men in the whole world, she's choosing to date men that you threw away, but now you want them back.
I think for me,
this is just getting ridiculous. This is just getting ridiculous.
Yeah, but my whole thing is I'm concerned that why she's running now more so than why you're running. So like I'm concerned why she's running, and her only reason for running is because she knows people that you are I guess supposedly upset with for dating men that you no longer date. I'm a single woman, so I'm gonna say this: if you ain't dating them no more, ain't it fair game?
Lola's love life. There's her policy. Lola's love life.
As long as you didn't date my friend or my sister, like I'm not doing that. But I mean, if I'm not, then I don't know. But I mean, to that point, what? Why is it important that you talk about these issues today? What makes it? Because here's the thing: the more people talk about somebody else, the more people go look at that person. Because I want to know, is that really true? Whether it's true or not, I'm going to go find. So now we have a lot of attention on you, and with that attention,
I think what happened was the fact she brought her child into it. Okay. In my last race, my opponent got a picture of me and my child on the bench and blew it up. To show that somehow, because I had my child at work, because I'm a single parent, and your kids, you understand, your kids go to work. Mm-hmm. So it's an unfair game to talk, because all that stuff that I talked about her, that I looked up after they said to get the facts, I would not have brought that up. But you taking us there because you talking about somebody's child, and you don't play with people's kids. Your day of social media, Adam's gonna see that video, and if he is not having a relationship with his dad now, what do you think that's gonna do? You know what? What else has happened since we ran in 2013? Every time we're up for re-election, he files something. He files something against her. I have been subpoenaed to go to court because he filed something And if he had won, she wouldn't have her son. She would have been in jail. Y'all know if we violate court orders, you go to jail. She has not gone to jail. But if you look at the records, since y'all say look at the records, he has a judgment against him that a judge put on for him violating a court order. Since we want to talk about the facts.
We're going to take a quick break right there, and we'll come right back with the fitness judges, Judge Kim Cooks and Judge Andrea Lane. This is Coy and Lola's Love Life with the Black Tea Sip. We'll be right back.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
To share my love for such a long, long time, and the thought of loving you, it makes me smile. But I must be sure that this is really worth my while. Can I trust that you will always make me feel amazing? Baby, your love's contagious. We love the stages. This love we're making is fire. I take hits to go higher. Loaded up, just one kiss, I miss fire. And I saw Cupid with a gun. We make music and use it when it comes. We didn't choose it, but prove we get it done. The mood is setting source of sun. So baby, have a little fun.
Gorgeous, Miss Flawless, ruler of the queendom. Truly knows what it takes to help and build a kingdom. Fly as a mother, but the lady stay grounded. Her ass ain't the only thing that be well-rounded. Strength of flow, Evans, dope is Miss Huxtable. The lady that you don't mind giving your loving to. You deserve a toast. Can I have this first dance? Met 3 times, I feel it's my last. Can I be your Isley brother? You my sister sledge. Arousing my mental, baby, giving me head. Over your head, eyes above your breath. First order of business.
All right, and we're back. People that know each other very well cut up. Okay, so we're on with Kim Cooks and Andrea Lane. You know, those of you that follow my show, I've never done a show like this before. This is not how I utilize my platform, but because we are in politics, I think it's important. I think we have a call. I got a text. We have a caller. Last 3 is 639.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, caller. Go ahead. This is Coy, Lola, and the fitness judges.
Well, thank you for taking my call. My name is Cynthia Allen.
Hey,
I am
Cynthia.
an attorney.
How are you?
Hello to both the judges and to you, of course, Coy, and your team. I just had to call in when I heard this just now. I am leaving Fort Worth, but I stopped and parked my car on South Riverside just so I could make this call. So I have a personal story about Eunice Anderson.
Oh.
Eunice Anderson is my client.
Wait a minute, she's your client?
Okay, well, let me explain it.
Okay.
She came to my office asking me to represent her. I represented her for almost 6, 8, maybe 10 months. We are still in litigation because I have sued her for my attorney's fees. But long and short, I was her lawyer in front of Judge Kim Cook. Okay?
Wait a minute, Cynthia. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying. Because the way I understood the narrative is that the opponent represented her in front of Judge Cooks. You are saying you were the attorney that represented her.
Absolutely, the whole time.
I need you to
Vonda never represented her until she wanted to do an appeal, okay? I was a lawyer, and even then, I was still on the call or on the Zoom call because I still was a party to the lawsuit. So I have been to every hearing. I have heard every word. Vonda never represented her, okay? Bree West represented her, and Vonda was on the call. She never did another appearance, to my knowledge.
Wait a minute, you're taking us too fast, Cynthia. Now, I want to make sure that people understand what's being said here. Cynthia Allen, who, in full transparency, I know and like. So, but I think what's important here is you are Kim's mentor and close friend. And I heard you say that that Eunice Anderson appealed which means she lost. So that's the only way you can get an appeal is if you lose. So did Kim rule against you when you were in her court?
Okay, let me explain. I was Kim mentors, but she is way over what I call intellectual over more than me. So I look up to her now.
Okay, all right.
We are good associates, of course. I respect her, and I always look up to Judge Cooks. In fact, let me just say this, Corey. I know this is not on the subject, but she's the only judge in Dallas County out of 7 that gives us a ruling the very same day. Not one other judge does that in Dallas County.
I do.
People want to know how their life looks, after they waited for that, And sometimes we get our judgments or their renditions, which is what their rulings are, sometimes 3, 5, 10, 12 months later, after you had your trial. But let me get back on point. I was Eunice Anderson's lawyer. Her ex-husband, Mr. Anderson, without divulging a lot of facts, tried to recuse Judge Cook. All right? It didn't happen. So she was quite satisfied that Mr. Anderson could not recuse Judge Cook. In fact, she took me out to dinner after we did the recusal. All right? So let's get back. I have been on every Zoom hearing, in person or otherwise. I was her lawyer.
But,
okay?
I want the people to understand, because you said that, because I'm trying to get the connection between the opponent saying that she represents her and you're saying you represent her. And so I that may sound confusing to some people, and I want to make sure that
Let me make sure that I'll break it down.
Okay.
So when you are representing a person, okay, you take it from the temporary orders, and then that Judge Cook's associate judge. And they appealed, Mr. Anderson, his lawyer, appealed, so then we get in front of Judge Cook. Okay. And so she hears the appeal, right? I was there at the associate judge level. I was there at the recusal representing her. I was there when she also was denied whatever else she wanted. So I was there representing her the whole time.
When she was denied, was it Kim?
I'm trying to explain.
Well, I want to make sure people understand. Was it Judge Cooks that denied her request?
Was it Judge Cooks? No. What do you mean denied her request?
Well, you said she was denied.
You talking about her appeal?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay, let me make sure that I'm clear, because I know that everybody's not lawyers and they don't understand what recusals mean and all of that. But let me just make sure that I make it clear, because it is convoluted. So I was Eunice Anderson's attorney 6 times until the very last time when I got off the case and sued her for attorney's fees. That's called an intervention of attorney's fees. Mm-hmm. All right? So although
that means
the
she didn't pay you.
Relationship,
let's be clear, she didn't pay you, Cynthia. That's what you're suing for, because she did not pay you.
That is correct.
Okay.
So that's the last part of this, okay? So I wanted everybody to understand that I was a lawyer throughout the whole process, all right? And she actually got a good ruling from Judge Cook, and in fact, without divulging the attorney-client privilege, she did great. She did great. Okay?
Wait a minute, we didn't hear you. You said she did what?
She got a good ruling from Judge Cooks.
She got a good ruling from Judge Cook. In fact, it wasn't just a good ruling, it was a terrific ruling. She had 3 of her friends there just for support, and they kept saying, oh my God, what was going on with her? Because she was rude, she was short, she snapped, and I'm not going to forget this because I've never heard this before. She said, now that you understand, Your Honor. And so Justice kind of looked at her and made her ruling, and her girlfriend said to her when we went out the courtroom, what was wrong with you? You were very mean and ugly. It was 3 of them.
So
all professional women.
So I want to make sure that people understand, because somebody's on here saying the show is biased, and she said she'd be more than happy to share the truth. One of the things that she said to me.
Get the transcript.
One of the things she said to me.
Get the transcript.
One of the things she said to me is that Judge Cooks put her in jail.
Well, first of all, if you have two sides, first of all, the child would never be able to go to CPS because you got a father that's fighting, all right? And Judge never said, just like I told you, I was her lawyer for 6 times, and they only came in for the last hearing. Bree West came in for the last
you're
hearing.
saying Bree West was the attorney?
No.
Bree West was the attorney, not Bailey?
Not Bailey. Now, Bailey was on, if I remember correctly, I think she may have been on, but that's just to recuse Judge Cook.
Okay.
And that's kind of what this recuse, I'm sitting here reading it, says, that she filed a notice of appearance and then immediately filed this recusal motion, and then she emailed Judge Cooks for 7 days straight about whether or not she was going to excuse herself from the case. So I don't think that Fonda understands that when we get a recusal, we can't talk to the people. That would be improper. What we do is we send it to the administrative law judge who makes a decision. Sometimes it comes out in a week, sometimes it comes out in 2 months. So what she's put in this recusal that I just was able to get because, people are sending me stuff for me to look at and get the facts. I'm just reading this and see that she didn't understand how this process works. So she's making even this bigger than it is. When I get recusals, I sign it and it goes to Judge Wheelis. And when he rules, he rules. But at that point, I don't respond to anybody else because it's improper. So she's making a big, and I mean, why are you going to email a judge for every day for 7 days? That's kind of like crazy people. You don't do that. You don't do that.
Oh, go ahead, Lola.
I'm asking for a friend. Recusal, explain that again.
That's when someone doesn't want you as the judge to be on a case. So they file a piece
because of some type of alleged bias.
Right. Okay. And so when they file that,
or financial gain, or something like that.
They just think that they know how you may rule and they don't like it. So it's kind of a way to form shop. You want to go to somebody else who may have a more sympathetic ear to you. They file a recusal motion, and once we get it, once the judge gets it, then either we sign it immediately or we send it over to the administrative law judge who's in charge of the judges in this region, and he'll look at it when he gets to it, because he's also sitting on a bench hearing cases. When he gets to it, then he'll assign it to another court. So once we get a recusal, we can't have anything else so if someone sends me stuff on a recusal, I immediately have that filtered out to go to my coordinator who sends it over to the administrative law judge. So from October 10th through October 17th, when she says she emailed Judge Cooks every day, October 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and Judge Cooks never responded, it's because we can't respond. But
wouldn't a well-versed attorney know that? Someone who knows the law would know that.
You should know that because it is set out in our law books of how a recusal works. So you should know that.
May I say something as well?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, it sounds like you were smart now.
So she says that Judge Cooks was recused because of her bias. That is not true. Judge was not recused when her ex-husband tried to recuse her. Okay, so what they wanted to do is make it where it's unavoidable, saying that they had the same boyfriend for the last 4 years, and that she was currently dating the ex-husband.
Is he cute?
So what is that? That's nothing to do with bias, like she claims. It's just mess. It is junior high school mess.
Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate you calling in, and I think you have shed some light because for you to say you represented her, the whole time, I think it's questionable. Now,
except for the last hearing, except for the very last hearing, but I was on the last hearing because I'm still a party.
So this is just mess.
Yes.
Let me say this. No, not even high school mess. Junior high
mess, yes.
Okay? Judge Cooks is an excellent judge, and there are just people. In fact, let me just say this. I think that Vonda Bailey has never practiced in front of Judge Cooks. Am I correct, Judge Cooks?
She has never physically been in there she may file, if she has a case that's filed in the court and she sees that it's in the 255th court, she immediately files a recusal. So physically, she does not appear before me.
She said that you barred her. This is on the Ed Gray Show. She said that you barred her and another attorney that's still nameless and faceless, that attorney cannot appear before you, and she cannot appear before you because of you.
There's no such thing as being barred. So if you were barred, why do you file recusals?
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say
then
the same
understand
thing.
on a recusal, the unfortunate part as sitting as a judge, you can file anything. Coy, if you had a case in the court, you can file and say, I saw her speeding down the street. I think she's biased. Mm-hmm. And I can't respond to that.
Or we were out and I saw her sniffing crack rock, and she doesn't need to be my judge. You can say whatever and the judges cannot respond.
So I've got a question, and they said, why not put Vonda Bailey on the show at the same time? I have asked Vonda Bailey for documents, and I have not received them. I have asked.
She's not gonna do it. She's not gonna do it, Cora.
I have asked Monica Eunice Anderson for documents substantiating her relationship with Mark Metz. I've asked for pictures. If you take a picture with your cell phone, it will be time and date stamped. I don't post pictures of me and my man, but if you ask me for them, I have them. So I'm asking. So if you're asking me why Vonda Bailey is not on my show, because I need Vonda Bailey to prove up what she's saying before I bring her on the show, because it's important to me that although she's been all over social media saying these things, that we speak truth to power on this show, that we sip tea on this show, not because we are interested in mess, not because we are interested in taking someone down, but because we are interested as black people loving on us and putting us in a position where we do better.
Right.
That is why Vonda Bailey is now on this show, because Vonda Bailey has not given me one item that I've asked for. And when she does that, I am willing to sit down and have a conversation with her and go through those documents. So if you're wondering why, I hope I've answered your question successfully. I'm sorry, Cynthia, what were you saying?
I want to just say lastly that with respect to Judge Cook, she can't say anything. So all this stuff that Vonda may be saying and doing, and she can't respond. So she is powerless.
Right.
She can't talk about anything that she has done or said because of people's liberties and their lives and privacy. So she cannot attack back. So people are probably wondering, well, why don't she say that? Well, why didn't she just say that?
Exactly.
She can't. And I just want to make sure that everybody's clear that she can't.
Well, because we didn't know that if someone emails you, you can't respond to a recusal, which means they are refusing to be in front of you.
But they don't want to be in front.
On top of that, even as basics for an attorney, that's ex parte communication.
Right, which means the other party is not privy to the conversation of both. So when you have a judge and you have the plaintiff and the defense, or even if it's criminal and you have the state versus a defendant, neither of those parties are supposed to talk to the judge without the other party's knowledge. So an email between two people means that Kim would be actually having a conversation with an attorney outside of the opposing party's knowledge, and you cannot do that. Now, I don't practice law, but I went to law school. You can't do that.
And I want to say one more thing, because I know you ran out of time. But I also, since they told me to look up stuff, I went in, because I didn't want to be in her business.
Right.
So I don't go look at the file.
Well, we already are.
Well, I mean, the legal business. Because I have legal business, I don't want her.
Right, absolutely.
So we don't look at each other's file. But I went because people said I need to know the truth because I'm just hanging because I know her. So I went and pulled the file and saw that there is a judgment in your case. But it's not against you.
It's not against
you. It was signed January 23rd, 2020 against Mark Metz. He owes $8,000
in back child support
and failure to pay the tuition payment from 2011 to 2019. He also owes $1,725 as attorney's fees, $308.44 as court cost, and that was signed January 23rd, 2020. Did anyone send you any orders that had her in contempt?
No.
That held me in contempt for anything. Where's
I want to talk about contempt just a second because people may not understand. I was told that Kim, the graphic that I put up says Kim put me in jail. the only way, if you're in a civil matter, that you end up in jail is if you have violated a court's order. It's just like child support. It is not against the law to not take care of your child, not to pay for him. But when the judge orders you to then pay and you do not pay, you are in contempt of court, and that becomes criminal, and that is how you end up in jail. So I didn't understand when she said she had me put in jail. The first thing that went to my mind was, then you violated an order. Right. So you committed a criminal act by not following the judge's order. But there's nothing that I could find that says she was put in jail. And so I feel like that we need to have an understanding that when someone says they are running for judge, and we talk about when we're running a campaign, judicial temperament. Well, I have a team of people that I work with. Lola does faith engagement, Crystal does geoanalytics, Chris does the stats, we have another person, Pat does the text message. We have a team. We will often consult about judicial temperament. Do we want to be associated with the person? Because we don't want to be associated with somebody that comes out of a bag, or somebody that gets a DUI, or runs over small animals, or whatever. We don't want to be associated with that. So do they have judicial temperament? Now this is my show, so I get to say what I want. I disagree vehemently and wholeheartedly with anyone who wants to be a judge who will post the business all over social media. I disagree with that. Now, I think that speaks to judicial temperament. I think it speaks to the associates and the sponsorships that says that's all right.
And then how would you do that as a judge, and you're going to put a child out there to be bullied, harassed, hurt, harmed, because you have a video out there that's full of lies?
Or what about a domestic violence case?
Right.
I think what we're looking for in our candidates, whether you like him or not, whether you like me or not, what we are looking for when Lola and I are running campaigns is putting the people who are going to make a difference in our lives in office. Whether it's the bench, whether it's in Congress, whether it's a municipality, it's a city council. All politics is local. That is what we're looking for. You can disagree. I don't have a problem with an opponent saying, I'm going to challenge this bench because I think I could do a better job. I don't have a problem with that. Right. That is politics. Right. That is your right.
Yes.
Yeah, like saying, I want to improve programming, I give fair chances, but your boyfriend...
Or that, the stats of the court, it's not running efficiently.
Yeah, if you're, what is it, the docs? I just learned about the dockets. Okay,
the dockets.
They're backed up.
And we have no
Somebody
backlog.
Ain't there.
No backlog.
No backlog. Those are some things that
you want to change for the better.
You want to change for the better, because when we vote, now to your point about a family court case. I don't think I have one. I don't have any children. I'm not getting a divorce because I'm dating. But
we didn't even get to Lola's love life.
To that point, those who do have cases, your court affects the whole
and the whole family. Whole family.
Children, and that's trauma. If you're being biased because you mad at your ex-husband and someone says something in court and it's a trigger, and now the dad's gone away for 10 years just because you was triggered, it's a problem. And so
I just think, and I'm gonna say this, I think there are some associations, and I'm sure that your opponent doesn't remember this, but I actually was at Friendship West for the CD30 forum, and I parked my car and there was a golf cart there. And it was both Vonda Bailey and Jasmine Crockett. And I asked the man, are you waiting for me? And I kind of said that laughingly, and he said yes. And neither one of them parted their lips to me. They did not speak to me. They did acknowledge me. And in fact, Vonda saw that I was getting on the golf cart, and she put the box of stakes that go in the yard signs in the back in a way that would permit me from not being able to get on. I wasn't. And so the man said, let me move this for you. I'm a voter. They didn't know who I was. Maybe they did, but I'm a voter. But aside from that, not only am I a voter, I'm a black woman. And I'm going to close here. I don't believe that people who say they love black people disrespect black women.
Right.
I do not think that if you have a problem with either judge, whether I'm associated with them or not, participate in their campaigns, ran their campaigns, led their campaigns, or the coordination between early voting and election day. There is a way to fight in politics. We don't bring up children. We don't create relationships that we cannot substantiate because we want the job. That's not what we do. Right. We should be better than that as Black women.
Yes.
We should be better than that as professionals. We should be better than that as people that want to participate in a democratic process.
And mothers.
And mothers. This is Car with the Black Tea Sip, because what are we teaching our children? All right, we're going to do it again, same bad time, same bad channel next week. I want to thank the fitness judges, Judge Kim Cooks and Judge Andrea Lane, for coming on and spending some time with us today. And we also miss Lola's Love Life, but we'll get right back to it next week. So tune in again to the Black Tea Sip. This is Coy, and we'll do it again in a minute. Oak Cliff, stand
well,
up.
Well, don't be mad if I won't date anybody that you know.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications